years ago, he bought me a he bought me a motorcycle, a moped. And years ago, when I got this moped, my uncle took it away from me. He stole it, and then he wrecked it, and never paid me back for it. So anyway, my uncle sends me messages on YouTube yesterday, I guess, that I just seen last night, saying that I need to man up and try to and say Merry Christmas to my son, in which I have not seen my uncle in 15 years. This was of course after he went to jail for trafficking cocaine at Dave's Motel and selling me dope. So anyway, he calls me back or he messages me back and says, "Oh, so $1,000 buys you?" Well, it's not the point of $1,000 buying me. It's $1,000 that you owe me because you stole my bike. I mean, what point of that don't you get? So he messages me back and says, "Well, do you remember your grandfather going to jail over you and blah blah blah?" Well, I mean, he might. I don't know. He may have. I was a bad delinquent. So what's the point? He may have went to jail over me. But anyway, the point is, what's your point? I was 13. I was 13 years old. So I don't get what your point is about bringing my grandfather up in this anyway. So anyway, he says, "Man up, or I'll expose your scam." Well, if there's a scam for you to expose, then by all means expose it, so I'll know what it is. Because from what I know, the last 5 months of my life has been live on video. Now he got on here when I was kicked out of my sister's house and said that he owns three businesses and that if we needed his help to email him. Well, but everybody was on here saying, "Well, if you got all this money, why don't you help them since you know they're homeless?" Of course, he never gave a reply to that either, did he? But the simple fact that he owes me money, I don't care. You can stay out of my life. Expose what you got to expose because you haven't seen me in 15 years, so you know nothing about me, period. You know how I was when I was a juvenile. You know that. You know how I was when you were selling me dope to sell for you. You know that much, in which I've already told everybody anyway. So the point is that you cannot blackmail me. So LC, if you're watching, I could care less what you put on the internet. I think I've already proven that. I think I've already proven that on YouTube or Facebook. There's nothing else you can say or do to me that somebody else hasn't already tried. You'll lose. You'll lose. You just tried to blackmail me. So, I mean,
We've already got police reports on other people. We can put him in on
you
it.
just tried to blackmail me. So, what I do in my time is my business. And if you're a millionaire and you know that I'm struggling and I can't afford to take care of my daughter, which you just offered to buy my daughter from me. Yeah, he just offered to buy my daughter. So, uh, anyway, I don't know what that meant, but I mean, why not? My cousin's a child molester, so he might as well be too. But anyway, point being is that was that phone call that you guys heard on Facebook when we first got on, when I asked my aunt about the moped, and she said she didn't have anything to do with it because she knows I'm telling the truth. He stole my moped, and that was just it. He's a thief. But anyway, everybody knows already about my former drug addiction. Everybody knows already about my former criminal record. And everybody knows already about everything that I do, everything I've done, everything I've said. So the point is, I could care less. Point is, I could care less. Now, I didn't ask him to get on my YouTube channel and message me. I didn't ask him to get on my YouTube channel and be concerned about anything about me. I didn't ask him for any money, actually. So I didn't ask him to get on my Facebook. Now, why he all of a sudden wants to be a superhero after 15 years after his brother died and he didn't come to the funeral, I have no idea.
Bully.
But he was never there for anybody in our family.
No.
Never. Ever. And if he wants to talk about a dope head, well, maybe he should talk about when he was selling it to dope heads. When he went to jail for selling it to dope heads with the Muslims at the Days Motel here in Lexington. Maybe he should talk about that. Maybe he should talk about that's the reason why he moved out of town, was because he was on parole. Maybe he should talk about that before he tries to talk about somebody else. So, Mr. LC Saleem, expose my scam. I'm on here. I'm on live video. Expose it. Say what you got to say. If you're on here,
There is no scam.
say what you got to say. Just like you said, Michelle was in Somerset prostituting. Michelle ain't never been to Somerset, for one thing, and you don't even know who she is. So what else do you have to say? What else do you have to make up? Because, I mean, you made up 3 different stories to me already. You were part owner of Days Motel. You're a millionaire. But from what our family knows, you fell in a ditch down at the transit center and sued them and got some money. That's what we know of. Did I steal my grandfather's car when I was a kid? When I was 12 years old? Yeah, I did. So, did I run away a lot? Was I in boys' camps? Yeah. So, what's your point? What is your point? That was 30 years ago. What's your point? What point do you have to make? What scam do you have to expose, Mr. Wofford? Oh, that's right. But you go by Saleem now because you always talk about bombing the government. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Oh, but you don't like white people. I forgot about that. But wasn't your wife white? Hmm. That was cool. Wasn't her name Debbie? Didn't she live with us for a while? Weren't you staying with Weezy and them because you couldn't afford to get your own place with a white lady while you're sitting there saying you don't like white people? That's all I remember. That's all I remember. So before you start talking about me, which I don't care, I really don't. I just wish you would stay off my page. I'm not gonna block you because I want you to be able to say whatever you want to say to any of my friends on my page. Anything you want to say. And you know what they're gonna say? So everybody has a past. So what are you saying? You can't say it's drugs because you can't work where I work at and pass a drug test and be working there. So you can't say that. So what else do you have to say? What else do you have to say? You can't use anything else other than I was a drug addict and I was a juvenile delinquent. That's the only thing that you can use. And that's already been bought out. I bought that out when I first started the pages. So what else is there? What else is there? Expose it. Where you at? I don't see you. I sent you a message. Where you at?
And he had talked to you, son. I've been there when you talked to him.
And actually, I've sent messages live on Facebook to Cameron about my son. So, what are you? What are you talking about? Exactly, what are you talking about? That's what I thought. So, before you get on, like you did last time, and say, We need to get down to the underlying issue of drugs and things like that. Maybe I should take you to where I work at and show you the piss test. Or no, it wasn't a piss test. It was a swab, wasn't it? It was a swab in the mouth, which was even better. So maybe I could take you there, and then maybe you might man up, as you say, and pay me my $1,000 that you owe me, $998 to be exact. To be exact, for my Elite 350 or my Elite 50E black moped that you wrecked and ran into a damn telephone pole. See, that's why I don't fool with you with my family, because they're scandalous, they're thieves, they're liars, habitual liars. Every one of them. Every one of them. If it's not stealing a check, in which two people in my family are guilty of, and I had one live on Facebook. That shows how rotten she is. So who else is left? And I really don't want to bring anybody else into this. But well, you know what? Weezy said she didn't have anything to do with it. So I'm gonna leave her out of it. I'm gonna leave her out of it. But you know, anybody else I could care less about in my family. Besides my nephews, my nieces and nephews, and my mom. The rest of them I could care less about. Wouldn't give a dime for them. Because all they've done was take from me all my life. Whether it's still checks from my car wrecks, or steal my back pay checks from my disability checks that I used to have, and then report me because why did she report me? Why did my check get turned off in the first place? Oh, that's right. Because she said that I was misusing the funds. Interesting. Very interesting. But I said I wasn't gonna bring her up. It's hard. It's really hard not to say anything, especially to people who sell drugs and then want to talk about people using drugs. I mean, it's really hard for me not to say anything right now because I really want to. I really want to. You don't know how hard it is for me not to say anything about any of this. So, anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. I'm gonna give my wife back her phone because I'm on YouTube and Facebook right now. So, guys, y'all have a Merry Christmas. God bless you. Even the Woffords, the rest of you guys, have a Merry Christmas. And please message me if you grow up. Man up, guys. Man up.